Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wholesale with Joe. And I got a great deal breakdown that I'm going to do on this one. So, just a little bit of a background on this one. So, this deal, I made over $148,000 on it. So, which is crazy. That's money I never thought I could ever make. And I realized just through a few simple steps that I was able to take, I was able to achieve that. And the thing is, you can do the same thing. And that's why I brought this channel to you. I want to be able to provide the content for you, grow through the exact from A to getting getting the lead to taking it all the way to getting a contract on it and closing on it and making $148,000. There's so many opportunities out there. And honestly, it came at a time where I was almost out of money in my wholesale business. I had been, this is about 8 months in. Things were a little bit tough, and I went a couple months without not really any deals or very small deals. And so this one, I needed a win. I'm so grateful to be able to do this deal breakdown. It was such a great opportunity for me, and excited to go in deeper. So let's take a look at this. So I did this deal in the town of Stuart, Florida. Great market, love being down there. And I got this lead for this tiny little lot right here. And also, the seller owned a little tiny lot on this street on East Avenue as well. So, how did I get this lead? So, I got this lead from my direct mail. So, I get a direct mail call from this guy, and the seller's like, "Hey, I got these two lots that I bought at tax sale a few years back, and I don't want them anymore. I just need to sell them and be done with them. We've got other things that are going right now in our lives, and so we just want to sell them." I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm like, well, and so one of the biggest things that I made sure and focus on in every phone call that I do, which is what you need to do, is you have to address the elephant in the room. So it's so important you establish motivation with your sellers. And in this particular scenario, one of the biggest things is you got to address the elephant in the room. What is the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room in this is like, why don't you just list the home on the market with a real estate agent? And the reason you have to ask that is because that is going to signify in a lot of ways why they're motivated to sell to a cash buyer or to a wholesaler. And what this seller said, he's like, Devin, I know I could make more money by listing it. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just want to be done. I said, perfect. Okay. So, well, and just so you know, like obviously listing it's going to get you more money, as he mentioned, but he just wanted to be done with it. He just wanted to close it out and just move on. I said, okay, well, perfect. So tell me a little bit about the lots. He's like, okay, so like I said, I bought them at tax sale. They're zone commercial, both parcels, and they're both clear. Taxes are up to date, and everything's good to go on it. I said, okay, perfect. So I'm like, well, why? Um, I said, well, what was your plan with him from the beginning? He's like, well, we wanted to build on him, but like I said, Devin, we have another business and it's doing really well, so we just don't want to deal with it anymore. So I said, perfect, okay, well, awesome. So I said, so if we pay cash and we cover your closing costs and we buy the property, obviously as is, whereas with land, it's obviously easy. It's different from just a traditional single family home. And and he's like, well, I just want to get what I bought it for, basically just a little bit more. I'm like, okay, would you buy the properties for? He's like, I bought both lots for a total of $30,000. I'm like, granted, this is all on the phone. So I'm like, I'm getting excited. I'm like, oh shoot, this is awesome. And I keep my cool. I said, okay, awesome. And so I'm like, so what's the price need to look like for it to make sense for you? And he said, well, if you can buy it for me for $35,000, then I'm ready to sell. I said, perfect. Okay. So this is a really pivotal moment, guys. So what's going to happen a lot in your business is that you're going to not say it a lot, but it's going to happen where you're going to get a seller that's going to be able to sell it to a price for you, whether it's a home run or it's a good deal, and you can pay them their price. And which is great. That's really important in this business. It's awesome. But the problem you're going to run into is is if you immediately just say, "Yep, we'll take it at that price," then that's where sellers start backpedaling. Oh, shoot, maybe I can get more money for it. They get what's called seller's remorse. So it's important that you use the strategy of anchoring them, of giving them a price that they're most likely going to say no to. And the reason you want to do that is Chris Voss talks about in his book, Never Split the Difference. He talks about negotiation doesn't start until the person says no. So, and I believe there's a lot of power in that because it's really important that the sellers in this particular scenario with real estate that they feel like they have the power and that they're making and dictating the decisions. Because like I'm not your robust like, hey, sign now or the deal's off the table. That's just not really how I roll. And I really think that it's important that you show the seller that you're there for a win-win situation. You want to benefit them just as much as it'll benefit you. And taking that approach and not car salesy, like door to door salesy, like where you're just like, hey, sign now, or the deal's gonna double in price or whatever. That's just not my style. So what I did said, what I went back to said, okay, well, look, like we love to buy your property. We've got funds we're looking to allocate. I'm like, do you have any flexibility on that price? It's like, and he said, no, we really like to be the 30. And I said, well, honestly, in a perfect world, we'd love to be in the $25,000 range. And he's like, yeah, Devin, I can't do that. Like, I really need to be in I really need to be in the $35,000 range. I know we can get more money for it, but if you can pay that, then we're ready to sell. I said, okay. So I said, so if I can pay that $35,000, then you're ready to put something in writing today. And he said, yes. I said, okay, perfect. So if I can, I'm going to push myself up and meet you at those numbers and, and make that happen. So he's like, well, Devin, just so you know, like if we're going to do this, I want you to make sure the property is not assignable. My attorney advised that you're the one actually buying it. Two, we have to use my title company that my attorney advised me on as well. And I said, okay. So like I said, you want to negotiate with them. I did get a little excited. So those are terms that I agreed to. I said, well, look, like ideally I'd like to use our title company, especially if we're paying closing costs. But if this will get the deal done today, I think we can make that work. So I sent over the offer, we reviewed together, and he said, okay, Devin, well, let me talk with my wife and let me review this with my attorney. And let me take a step back. So he said earlier, I asked him, I said, okay, so do you have any other decision makers involved? Like, do you talk to your wife? He's like, no, Devin, I'm the only decision maker. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sign. But then he says, well, let me call you in an hour. I need to review it with them. I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, well, I said, Mr. Seller, you did just say that you were ready to go, like you're ready to sign. It's like, yeah, Devin, I know I said that, but I do need to review it with them. I'm sorry. So let me do that. So I'll call you back in an hour. 3 days go by, and this guy doesn't, he ghosts me. I tried calling him and texting him, trying different numbers, and I got nothing. And then on day 4, I go to do my follow-ups. I'm like, I got to get a hold of this guy. It's going to happen. I call him from one of my office numbers, and he answers the phone. I said, Mr. Seller, what's up, man? Like, what's going on? And he said, oh, Devin, I'm sorry. Like, it's been really crazy. I'm like, well, are you still looking to sell, or did you decide that that's what you still want to do, or are you not looking to sell anymore? He's like, no, I want to sell. And I said, well, what do we got to do to get this thing wrapped up? He's like, I'm ready to go. So if you want to send me the offer, we can sign today. I said, okay, perfect. So I sent him the offer, or resend over the offer via DocuSign. I stay on the phone with him because that's the other thing you got to do. When you're getting deals done over the phone, especially if you're virtual, it is so important that you stay on the phone with the sellers, that you fill out the offer, you send it over to them, you review the document together, and you make sure that they're in a position that they're ready to review the agreement and sign it. And all the decision makers, if with all this, and this is not perfect every time, but if you can have all the decision makers on the phone that you're sending the offer to, and that everybody's signing at the same time, that assures you that they're motivated, they're willing to sell. Because as soon as you get off the phone, anything can happen. Somebody else can call them, they can change their mind. They can reach out to somebody else and see if they can get more money. That happens all the time. So I always try to make sure and stay on the phone with them when I send the offer so that we can get the contract signed together and that we can move forward to close. So he signs the agreement, we're under contract, and I'm like, I freaking needed this. So like I said, I was in a position where I was running out of money in my wholesale business. I was spending money on mailers and cold calling and texting and Google ads and things like that. And it's just things were not clicking. And honestly, the biggest reason was, and I'll do another video on this, is that I wasn't in the beginning spending enough of my marketing to generate enough opportunities. I was just kind of slowly bleeding myself out of my business by just spending just the minimal amount. And the thing is, in my opinion, if you want to be successful in wholesaling real estate, you need to invest in your marketing, because that's what you are. Wholesalers are marketers. You're marketing to properties of distressed sellers to get those properties under contract to then sell those to an end buyer. So get this property bought. We close on it. And fortunately for me, I had gotten a HELOC done on my house, so I got some cash set aside. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to use my HELOC. I'm going to buy the property. So close on the property, and and then now next step is we're going to list the properties on the MLS. So it took five months for one of those lots to sell and 6 months for the other. So I didn't end up seeing my return for a while, but that momentum of getting that contract, knowing it was such a great deal, ended up getting, just in the next like 4 weeks, I got a deal that I made 50K on, and then I got another deal that made like 67,000 on. So the wins were starting to stack up, and I really knew that this deal just felt like a huge momentum boost for me, and it was such a cool opportunity. So what we had to do, there were some other hurdles that came into play. Um, we realized that because this property is bought via tax sale in the state of Florida, it takes 4 years to have completely clear title. So that was one of the hurdles we had to jump through, and so we had to go through what's called a quiet title action. So we had to pay some attorney fees and things like that. And like I said, and it took a while just to sell the lots too. We listed them high on the market. The market had shifted. This was the summer of 2022 when the interest rate started to spike, and the market was just changing, and things were looking different. Builders were not building as much, and because nobody knew what was going on. And so yeah, there were some challenges there. And so like I said, but I was having some wins along the way, and in the end, it worked amazing. So like I said, I netted in my pocket after all expenses and everything, closing costs, fees, realtor commissions, all that stuff. I netted in my pocket $148,000, and that was so unfathomable in my mind that that could be a possibility. And here's what I've learned from that. I've learned that if you can't believe that it can actually happen, if you can't picture in your mind that something like that can't happen to you, then you're right. Most likely it won't happen. So in spite of my like doubts on that, like I knew I believed that I could be successful. I believe I could have opportunities, but if I don't picture myself just visioning that and seeing that that could actually happen, then it's really hard for it to actually happen. So what I learned from that is I can do this. I can do deals where I can make over $100,000. I can do multiple of them, and I've done deals since then that have made me six figures on one deal as well. So like I said, this is my best deal I've ever done. It was such a great opportunity. Like I said, it was a direct mail lead, and it was a driving for dollars lead. So we pinged those lots. Their address, like a high equity, it's a high equity vacant lot list that we did. And like I said, had the challenges of getting a contract with the seller. He ghosted us. We called him multiple times and showed how important follow up is, and getting the contract over the phone with the seller, especially if you're virtual. Like I said, I'm virtual, so I was out of state, so I did everything over the phone with him. But we stayed on the phone together, sent over the agreement, we both signed. And like I said, having funds, if you have the ability, finding a partner. If I didn't have the money, I knew I could find a partner that would buy these lots from me, because I knew that it was just such a huge spread and that we can make money. So find a partner if there's a property you have to close on, but you know it's a win. You know it's going to be a home run. So there's a lot of different strategies and things, and I'm going to continually do these videos that break down on how I strategize and how I do my deals to maximize profit on them. So like I said, I was really excited about this deal. It's still to this day my biggest win. So it's definitely motivated me to do some bigger deals and find more opportunities. And so, but I know they're out there, and I've definitely scaled my business significantly since, and I'm going to continually do so. So I really appreciate you joining. Like I said, another deal breakdown with Devin and Wholesale with Joe. And I hope you can, if you could please like and subscribe as I continue to post more content. I'd love to provide more value for you guys. And if you have any comments, you can reach me, like I said, on YouTube comments, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So love to connect with you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks.